If I'm going to have a drink, I got to have a dance. It's like it has to go together. I was actually in the bathroom and there was this girl, I think she was wasted. She was like crying in a corner, I think. She was just in the corner with her phone and just, I know. And then I was waiting for the bathroom and I was dancing by myself and the guy came out and he's like, I like that. Why don't you just go in? She doesn't, she won't even know that you're going in. So I got a free cut to the bathroom, all for a little dance. J-Dance can get you anywhere, people. Just dance and people love you.
It's true. It
is true. And it's a form of exercise. So now let's transfer into that. So the reason that we had Eric on this week is because we're going to keep you around for our hot topic for a second. So did you hear what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to announce on J Talking that this week we had a reality star that decided to take his own life, and that was on Beverly Hills Housewives. If you've watched that show, you know Taylor Armstrong is the long, tall, skinny one with the big lips. You've never seen a show? Have you ever seen a show?
I saw one episode,
have you? Okay.
So it doesn't really count.
Okay, but you know the girl I'm talking about and stuff. Do you know that? Did you see any episodes with him and her? He's not a nice guy. Was not a nice guy. Babe, have you seen an episode with him in it?
Of course.
Oh yeah, that's right. You watched the whole season with me.
According to the media,
Rockett is like the reality show
marriage. I got the vibe that he was just like not wanting to be on camera. I don't know if it's necessarily.
He signed up for it though. It's like you have to sign your name.
Maybe his arm was twisted to do it. Maybe she wanted to do it.
Well, I think there has to be some ethical issues involved in this, in the networks and how they portray people and how they can defame characters. But because you're a media or because you're a public figure, they're allowed to do it to you.
But it's like I feel that reality shows, you sign, for example, and like I understand what you're saying, like so he could have had his arm twisted to be on the show. There was another housewife that her husband was never shown on the show. He didn't want to be a part of it. And so it's like he had the option to not do it, but he said yes. And then the reason he committed suicide is because he called his mom and said that they're going to vilify me on the new season's coming up like within the next month. And he was like, and they just got a divorce within this last month. I don't know if it was finalized or she just filed, but she'd been claiming abuse and just a lot of horrible things. And you could even see on the show that he was just not a nice person. So when people tell me like, okay, what is your thing about reality television shows? Would you ever go on one?
I almost went on The Real World.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was almost chosen, but
Really?
They caught me withholding a lot of personal information on purpose.
Well, what were you withholding?
Just some funny stories that I still can't repeat. Some stuff my sister.
So did they like find out the stories?
Yeah, because I started to say something and I was on camera and I said, "Oh, never mind, I forgot what I was saying." And they said, "You're too sharp. You know what you were saying. What were you going to say?" And I said, "I'm like, I just don't remember." And then they came back to me after that and they said, "Yeah, we're not going to have you involved in that now."
What season was that?
It was the second time when they went to New York.
I made a Real World audition tape when I was in college. I never sent it in, but you really need me on the show because you've not had a girl that's like crazy and fun. You know, you've had crazy girls, that's for damn sure. But you haven't had girls that are like sarcastic with wit and humor that can keep up with the guys. You have funny guys, but you never have funny girls. You always have girls like, "Oh, I'm anorexic. Oh, oh, my boyfriend at home." No, none of that. Well, not that anorexia is. Well, I used to have bulimia. I'm not going to lie about it, but it's not like I cry about it, and it's not like I like get everyone involved in my life with it.
They did it, but MTV did a really good job of doing all their background research and doing psychoanalysis, and they did a lot of testing.
So they say this, that they do all of this, and in Bethany's book she talks about like the whole process of getting on a reality show and how they've got all these, psychologists on set, and that's like a huge hardcore thing. Like they make sure there's like professionals there to watch people's mental health and stuff. So first of all, where were those people for Bravo? Did they have those people? I don't know, And then second of all, why do they say they do all these testings, but they always pick the craziest, most unstable people? Do they not?
Well, if you're going to let someone watch every aspect of your life, then... Yeah.
What?
That's what gets ratings.
Yeah. Well, I know. So why even have a psychologist? So are they having psychologists there to say, yes, this person is mentally unstable, let's put them on?
No, they're probably
they're probably just making sure they're not too mentally unstable.
It just seems like it completely negates the argument.
When you let the cameras into your life to film your life all the time, they have to make sure that you are the kind of personality that can not withhold things. Like you have an issue, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're very good at that. I am not.
Yeah, I would be amazing on a reality show.
I would be terrible.
Rockett and I think would be so funny because we're just random. We're so random.
Yeah.
But, so, we're talking about, okay, so the reason we had Eric on was because we're kind of going to mix these things together. The fact that this guy was obviously depressed. Now, the reason, if you can say that it's Bravo's fault that he killed himself, I think it's his own fault that he was just, he says that Bravo made him look like he's bad. No, they're just showing the camera, they're just showing the tape of what you actually did. So, you know, how can you vilify a person
because of editing?
Yes.
But when he's just he's abusive, and he has abusive past too. I forgot to mention
taken out
that.
a life insurance policy.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that yet.
Mm-hmm. Like the week before.
Man, he wasn't found for 24 hours too. Did you know that?
No.
A life insurance policy doesn't cover you if you commit suicide, though, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. No.
I don't think it does.
Wait, did he cash it in?
I don't know.
So
we have to do more research.
We're talking about, you know, when you are depressed, and I know people that have committed suicide because of a mix of depression and pills or alcohol, and we've talked about, you know, a little bit of that stuff in our past episodes. But depression is actually a chemical imbalance and so I was going to see if you had any, you know, I know that working out produces serotonin levels, and right, that's what it is.
Yeah, it helps endorphins, and it obviously is just good. I always just say it's just good to get out of your head. So that's the reason why, like with Dr. Peay's booty camp, we do it outside because it's good to be in the elements. So you're forced to focus on other things, and that's part of what my philosophy is on stuff like that. Is instead of sitting and trust me, I've been to therapy and done stuff like that, and I love it. But part of it too is I think you need to get outside and be forced to look at nature and be forced to get your mind off of yourself and onto other things.
Yeah. That's such a good point.
Like
dwelling
breathe
on yourself.
real air
That is
and get
such-
sunshine.
Yeah. That is that's one of my main I love Katie Trail is because I really do feel like when you're outside, it's another level of therapy. Like exercise is therapy so exercise with the serotonin levels and stuff, but that's what makes the chemical imbalance when you are depressed. And so I know personally I've dealt with depression I've been on Zoloft since I was 16 years old. And I can definitely tell a total attitude change in my whole self when I'm working on a consistent basis. I mean, I'm not, and that's the same, it's the whole thing about being in your head.
Like I don't have depression or take any mood altering drugs, but if I don't work out, my mood is also different. It's just normal.
That's how it is for me too.
Yeah.
So people, that's why you need to get in some kind of exercise plan because it's going to help you, even if you're not really depressed or anything like that, like these two, it's going to make you even happier. So who doesn't want to be even happier?
Yeah. I just feel more able to tackle challenges throughout the day when I've exercised because you have a sense of accomplishment.
That's true.
And once you feel like you've accomplished that one task for the day, it's easier to get more, and it just builds your momentum for the whole day.
I do want to make one point real quick.
Yes.
Though. I think everyone has the ability to be depressed. I think that it's something that most people fight on a daily basis, and that's where sunshine comes into play, and exercising and things like that in general. And one thing that people always joke with me about is they say, gosh, do you ever stop going? You've always got one project after another. Like you make yourself so busy. But if I sit around and have nothing to do, I feel like I get depressed.
Yeah,
so we all have our own coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
so,
that's so true. Rockett even said that this week because I was feeling a little weird this week before we went out there, and I feel like maybe I have been sitting around too much. But we have been exercising. We've been body pumping. We're going to talk about that. Thank you so much, Eric. We've had such a great time having you on the show. Thank you to Eric Peay. We love him. So check him out. Tell us about your websites real quick so they can go there.
Okay, there's two of them. There's COREhealthwellness.com, COREhealthwellness.com, and Dr. Peay's Booty Camp is bootycampcentral.com.
Booty
but
Camp
make
Central.
sure you put in the central.com or you'll wind up somewhere that I'm not advocating. I'll just tell you right now.
That is so funny. Well, we really appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
yes.
fun.
Thank you very much.